to HOA or to not HOA? You know, that is the question. Stay tuned. Let's talk about it. So I'm Melody. I'm your East Tennessee real estate resource. And when I get to talk with people, especially people who are moving into our state from elsewhere, almost 9 times, maybe 9.5 times out of 10, they're going to tell me, I want a house or I want to buy land with no HOA. I hear that a lot. I even hear that from people, in state too. And so I kind of want to take a second and talk about it, because I'll be honest with you. With being in this business now for almost 6 years, my perception is slightly changing. Okay, first of all, yes, there are HOAs, and there are levels of HOAs here, right? We're referring to HOAs as homeowner associations. And usually that involves paying either a monthly fee, a quarterly fee, maybe to maintain the sign at the beginning of the subdivision. Maybe that fee is if there's a swimming pool that the subdivision shares, or the fees vary for different things. But that's what I'm referring to as an HOA. And there are different levels of them. There are some, if I'm completely honest, that are super strict. I went and showed a house about a year ago, a new home, and I was going over the covenants and restrictions of this HOA with my client, and one of them was, you can only paint your garage door this color or this color. In my opinion, that's a little bit more of a stricter HOA. There will be some who will they'll say, okay, you're going to pay $70 a month, but you have access to the swimming pool and the tennis courts and the playground and yada, yada, yada. We'll maintain all of that. Not too bad. There's some who will say, okay, pay us $70 a year. Just help us to keep, the front of the subdivision maintained. They won't really have a quote unquote officers and things of that nature. It might just be one person who's kind of handling, the financial part of things. And then if I'm honest, as a real estate agent, the problematic area for me is always trying to figure out who the contacts are. So if you're buying a house, on the offer form, we have to put if there is an HOA, and then the contact information, usually a telephone number. And that's where it gets tricky, because sometimes if it's a bigger HOA, they will have maybe a third party company who is basically in charge of the fees. And so they will have their own contact person, and then there'll be another contact person who usually lives in the neighborhood, who's just kind of, making sure everything is done. And so that gets a little bit problematic. And I've got a story about that one for another day, especially if, the HOA has been under one company for a long time, and then they switch, and you happen to be representing a client, a selling client, and it's supposed to close at the time they're about to switch HOA companies. Whew, that was a nightmare. But one thing I will say that's positive about HOAs is I rarely see homes go down in value in HOAs. In other words, when you're scrolling on Realtor.com or Zillow or Redfin or whoever you're scrolling through, a lot of people will say the nicest homes, the ones that are well maintained, the ones who have good curb appeal, are going to be in neighborhoods that have an HOA. I can't even tell you how many times I've sat down with people and we've looked through homes. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. And we'll go back and look, and they're in neighborhoods with HOAs. So, which I think from what little bit of research I've done, that was kind of how they got started, is to kind of protect property value. And again, there's different levels of them. Some are going to be really, really strict. They might tell you what color to paint the front door, the garage door, or what have you. And then there's some who are just like, okay, just pay us your $70 a year, help us maintain the front of the subdivision or the sign of the subdivision or whatever. So there's different levels, just like there are with everything else. Then you think, okay, well, maybe I don't want an HOA. Like, really, I really don't want to be restricted in any shape, form, or fashion. And when I'm talking with most of you, that's what you tell me. And if I'm honest, I believe that. At least for a long time I did. I currently live in a neighborhood in Knox County, and there is no HOA. Okay, I have a big yard. Yes, you've seen that on previous videos. I've got about a half acre. And I have some people in my neighborhood who do not take care of their homes. And so when I go to sell my home, no matter how much I've done to it, how much I've done to my yard, how well manicured my house looks, if I've got a neighbor or 3 houses down who has weeds up to the roof and there's 3 junk cars in their driveway, it's going to still reflect on my property value. And there is nothing that I can do about that. I do not have control over anything that goes on in my neighborhood in that regards. Yes, I can do whatever I want to. I can put up a carport. Yes, I can put a flagpole in my front yard. I can do whatever I want to, and that's great, and I love that. But going through and showing properties and talking with people, and I'm starting to learn that it's really just a personal preference. If you want to have full autonomy over everything that you want to do with your house and yard, then yes, an HOA is probably not going to be for you. If you're like, okay, well, I can kind of understand some of the value, if I want to keep if my neighborhood has sidewalks and I want to keep those well manicured, or if there is some very nice signs, or if there's some amenities like a pool or a racquetball court or what have you on premises, I can see the value of paying into that. And then there's some of you who are like, you know what? I'm okay with that structure. I'm okay with being told I can paint my garage door this, and I can only have I have to have my grass mowed every week, or whatever those. It's really just a personal preference. And I think it now goes to, when you are looking for a home or you are looking for property, let's get a hold of those HOA documents to see the stipulations, see how strict they are, see if that matches your personality, because who knows, it might. And so you might decide to HOA once you've seen those, or you might decide not to HOA. The choice is yours. And another choice that's yours is, if you are looking to buy or sell here in East Tennessee, I invite you to at least give me a call, send me a text, send me an email. Let's have a conversation. I would love to work for you. I love my clients. I love learning about you. I love learning about your story. Reach out, and if you are one of my few faithful followers, please share this on social media. Please help me get my word out so I can get this YouTube algorithm going. I'm a teacher by nature. I've taught for 22 years. I love to teach people about East Tennessee real estate, and you can help me do that by sharing this video on your social media channels. And if you hear of anybody that is looking to buy or sell in East Tennessee, I would love to be that girl. Until next time.